G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza and this is a video tutorial on drawing feet. Feet and hands are very often the things that people have a lot of difficulty with. I did another video tutorial on hands, check it out. Feet. The reason why people often have trouble drawing feet is very similar to the reason people have trouble drawing hands. They're very organic shapes with lots of intricacies, parts, and many poses and perspectives that can be really difficult to get to wrap your head around. And it takes a long time to develop a strong sense of space and shape in all different, positions and poses. So at the end of the day, it comes down to practice. Lots of practice. But there are some things that you can keep in mind to help make the process easier. When I draw feet, same as hands, same as anything else that I draw, I approach it with construction first. So as I said in my hand tutorial, when I draw hands, I have like a tree stump base, and then everything is, kind of comes out from that. So we have our shape out, the thumb comes out, and the fingers kind of come out of that. That's about 7 fingers, but you get the idea. With feet, it's similar. So we have the tree stump top instead that tapers in to the ankle, and then when it turns into the foot, I always draw a bit of a ball shape for the bottom, the heel, the ankle heel bit. I don't know words for these things. Okay, so then let's draw this as a profile and let's make it bigger so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I draw the ball, then some distance away, I draw a smaller ball to represent the other part of the foot. I don't know names for these things. And I wrap the skin kind of around both. Okay, so at the top it kind of curves down into it. At the bottom it goes around, then up, then down again. So it kind of tucks under it. And then again, over here, it tucks down into the toe, but the top kind of has a consistent sort of line. Now, it's supposed to taper more. I think I've done it a little bit too flat. But you get the idea. That's a basic profile of a foot. Okay? Now, looking at the bottom of a foot, the shape that we see when we step into the sand is something like this. Okay? That's a terrible example, but you get the idea. We have this big ball part, that's that. And we have this part, which is the fat before we get to the toes, that's that, okay? And then we have the toes, which are their own separate thing. So I'm going to just leave some red lines to indicate what's what. Now remember, if you want to check out the file for this from this tutorial, this flash file, check out the link below. Okay, so there are reasons for these shapes, and when we draw it side on, that's my approach. Now, as with hands, there are certain poses that are constant to come back to, and we'll get to that in a moment. But for now, I want to draw the foot on a few different angles, just the neutral foot, so we can see how to convert these shapes on different angles to our perspective. So we've done the side, and we'll do another quick one over here. So we taper the ankle in, we draw the heel, and separately we kind of curve the end in to the foot. So I've drawn that on the side there, and that's the basic shape of a foot. Now you see I added that little line and thing there. I don't know names for these things. That's like the ankle bone. Okay, so I have this dude off in the side. Okay, now if I wanted to draw this 3/4, I'll enlarge on this and bring it over here. So this is the profile. Profile, my terrible writing. Okay, so if I wanted to do the same thing but slowly turn it around, I'm going to do a few turnarounds for you so you can see the progression. So the next stage would be same thing at the beginning. The ankle's always tapered in. We draw that first shape. Okay, now this shape on the side looks like that. But when you get to the front, it's going to look like that. Okay, so in the progression, it's going to slowly become more and more like that. So on this angle, it's going to be a little wider, okay, and a little closer in. So see, over here it's a circle, over here it's an ellipse, and it's closer in. So now when I curve the top in over that, it's already a closer shape. Now drawing on this end, we have the edge tuck in, but instead of just going under and around like that, we actually tuck the skin of this bit in front of the heel, and then the heel still goes under it. Okay, so if I did a super zoomed in version of that over here, okay, we have it like that. The top tucks over. On this side, the fat comes around and the heel tucks under like this. Okay, then we draw the toes. The front toes first, which are on this angle is the pinky, and they slowly get bigger. Okay, so that's that angle. So you can see how I've taken it and turned it slightly, and I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so next progression, same thing, tapering in the ankle, drawing the circle for the heel. This time we're going to have it nearly in front of it, and it's nearly facing fully forward. Okay, so we see here we taper the I say taper a lot, don't I? We bring the heel around, and this time the fat part. I need to know words to these things. I do this for a living. I should know these words, but I don't. So it means you don't have to as well. No pressure, guys. Let me tuck in the toes. Now with toes, I tend to not feel pressure to draw a huge amount of detail. I just kind of draw like a flat top and a curved bottom. Flat top, curved bottom, flat top, curved bottom, flat top, curved bottom, and just make them get bigger. You know, there's not a huge amount of detail required until you're really getting into the intricate stuff. So I'm going to draw in this ankle bone each time it slowly gets towards the edge, and then we have the front view. So ankle tapers in, heel, front bit, and the toes will be at the front like that. So we wrap around, draw the edges, and flat top, curved bottom for the toes. Okay, and let's do one more position, just because the toes, with some big, some small, do make a bit of a difference. And there is, as with the hand, so I don't have an example here, but see how the hand curves up in that sort of shape. We have a long curve up and then a short curve down. It's similar with the foot. So on the pinky side, we have a longer curve up in terms of shape of the foot and a shorter curve down. So it feels a bit like that, okay? I mean more in the shape of the foot itself, the fat of the foot. So it's a little like that, okay? So when I draw the foot facing the other way, I'm tapering the ankle, draw the heel, okay? I mean more with this oval shape. Rather than it being a flat oval, it should be a little more like that. So draw the heel, wrap around, tuck in, and this time we have the big toe at the front, and they kind of tuck in away. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Now I'll just do a quick line work example for you. And I'll zoom in on them so you can see how I approach them each individually. Now, as I always say, we're wrapping meat on bone. We're putting a glove on. So we just go organic. Think organic. Be loose with your lines. Don't be too rigid, otherwise a lot of your mistakes will be more noticeable because they're harsh shapes. They're, you know, a bit too strong. So nice and flowing, okay? The next one, just nice and relaxed. Curve, follow the curves. Use the curves. They're sexy. Curves are sexy. I should stop talking sometimes. Oh, hello, internet. How are you? You can tell us stop having things to talk about when it starts seducing the webcam. God, I'm lonely. Okay. Now, as the foot starts to tuck over a bit, this becomes more in front of the foot. So you just kind of think of it as its own sort of, it's its own domain now. So these little, it's actually often that the little pinky toe is kind of curved around a bit more, and then they fan out more as they reach out, get to the bigger toe. When drawing toenails, similar to the fingernails, if you've seen the hand tutorial, I just draw a flat edge at the front like that, and I just draw a quick curve behind it. So that's how I draw toenails. Same approach, nice and loose. Draw the ankle. Think of them as kind of weighted down. Everything's kind of heavy and falls to the bottom of the feet. Now when we draw this side of the foot, when it's on the toe side, the curve, the arch under the foot, so say in this example here, when it's on this big toe side, this arch is much bigger. Meaning, when I draw it on this angle, after I draw the heel, you can really play up that angle under, between the heel and this part. Still don't know a name for it. And there we go. So they are our examples of feet. Now, if you have a hard time drawing feet, I could get by quite simply on this. It doesn't need to be too complicated, and you can start to rely on things like that. Now, just a couple of examples of feet poses. Feet have poses too. Now, same with the hand example, I'll give a feminine foot first. You'll notice with ballet dancers and other dancers in general, and when women wear high heels, there's a very conscious and subconscious affiliation with feminine feet being pointed. So when I draw a feminine foot, whether it be in heels or just kind of relaxing, hanging over the edge of a couch, it's much more feminine to, after you draw the tapered ankle and the bottom of the heel, I'll bring this out a bit so you can see it a bit more, to point it down like this. Okay, and the toes and the foot in general just should be a little more elegant and a little more slim when we're going with our cliches. Okay, so and when we draw a toe kind of resting on the feet resting on the ground like that, remember to tape the female feet in. This is a bit chunky for a female foot. Not that if you're a female and your foot like that, this is looks like that, you're chunky, but I'm digging myself a hole again. You're beautiful just the way you are. Don't change. Okay, lovely. That was a good save. There you go. Okay, so it's not too elegant, but you get the idea. It gets the job done. Now, I think I'm drawing on a kind of a bad angle. That's not the best example of drawing feet, because the arch is much more noticeable on the other side. So if I taper in the ankle, draw the heel, I'm just doing the same pose on the other angle, but the difference is when the big toe's on this side, I can really play up that angle there, because the arch under the foot is much bigger. Over here, it has to be a bit more flat. There's still that curve, but it's just not as big. Over here, it's really got that, not that much, but you get the idea. Cool. There we go. So that's our first feet pose, our pointy pose. Okay. Now my most commonly used neutral foot pose would be this one. and this one. Okay, so when you draw someone facing forward, it's quite common to have the front leg go into like a pose like this, and the side leg go into a pose like that. Now, a very cool thing to keep in mind is you won't often be drawing bare feet. So a lot of your feet poses will be in shoes. And drawing shoes is much easier than drawing feet. Okay, so once you get the basic feel of drawing a naked foot, drawing a shoe over that naked foot. So let's use our same construction, but this time turn it into a shoe, right? It's much easier. So we do the wrap around the bottom, and instead of drawing toes, I just kind of do a little front shape like that. There we go, and we've got a shoe, and we can turn that into any kind of shoe. I'll give you 2 feet examples. So our first one can be a sneaker. So we have the front like that, side kind of tucks up, and we've got our fancy shapes that they have on sneakers. And the other one can be a medieval boot. So we've got their thatching, or whatever you call it. The bottom's lined with leather, and the top's got their overhanging bit. So you can see drawing shoes is far easier. Okay, I'm going to, as a last example, give you this from behind. So drawing a foot from behind, same approach. I draw the ankle and the heel, and this foot is facing down that direction. So I draw the edge there, so the fat bit. Same thing, it curves down. This curves, but instead this time this is in front. So there's much more of a strong curve there, and then we can draw the end curve. And then the feet are just really tucked behind, so there's less detail there again. And that's that foot from behind. So I'm going to go through these and just give you some line work examples so you can see it be worked individually. And hopefully you will have learned a little bit from this. I won't draw the ankle, I'll just kind of show you how I would turn it into a shoe. So we've got our shoelaces. And we draw our basic shape. Now when you draw shoes, not as organic in its shaping, much more rigid. So for example, when I draw this boot, the lines, the edges, aren't as free-flowing as these ones. These are very curved, these are very organic. These, there's a flat bottom. It still pokes out at the end. Make sure that when you draw the heel, it always bumps out a little bit, because it does. But the bottom is flat. Oops. So there we go. There are our shoe examples. Now we have our pointed feet over here. So we draw the ankle, the heel, skin over top. And see how quickly you can just kind of, when you get used to it, you know, and you get your rough shapes figured out, it can become a fairly simple process, even though, especially when you start out, it can be quite difficult. Now, if I haven't said it in this video, or if I have, I'll say it again. A lot of things I do fairly subconsciously or naturally, I do because I've been drawing for a very long time. If you're a beginner and some of these things intimidate you or confuse you, don't worry, just relax, take it in its stride, try and learn what you can, and just practice, because it comes with a lot of time and a lot of what I'm talking about. So when I draw a shape and then when I undo it, because you might look at that and think, oh, that wasn't a bad line. But you get to know very quickly later on, once you've had a lot of experience drawing shapes in space, you get to be very used to what works and what doesn't. It just takes a lot of time building that, you know, knowing when to tilt and stuff. So there we go. There are a few examples for you. This thing feels a bit naked, so I think I need to give him a sock. There we go. Much better. That's all it was missing. Cool. So I hope you learned a bit from this video tutorial. Make sure that if you enjoyed these tutorials, check out more, subscribe, because I'm going to be trying to keep these coming as much as possible. And make sure if you have any ideas or requests for tutorials, let me know, and I'll see what I can do, because I'm still learning in the process, but I do have some things to offer, and if they help, I hope that you enjoy the process. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. Links are below to download the original files for reference. Remember, if you animate or draw something cool, be sure to share it on Newgrounds.com, the internet's best source for animations, games, art, and music. Until next time, see you later.